Hello, everybody. Good evening. How are you? Hello. How's everybody? Settled? I think अब तो सब settle हो गए होंगे quarantine में. Hi, Malvika. How are you? Hello. Welcome. How are you guys doing? Hello. Hi. Hello. I'm feeling so relaxed. मैं usually बड़ा late हो जाती हूँ तैयार होते होते. मैं live के लिए हमेशा late होती हूँ. But I'm happy. I was like sitting on time today. How's everyone? Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Hi, Azia. Hi, Vikas. Hi, Kotari. Hi, Ankit. So, guys, today I am actually quite nervous. क्योंकि ये जिनके साथ मैं आज लाइव आने वाली हूँ, आप लोग जानते हैं कि मैं बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग लोगों के साथ, अलग अलग फील्ड्स के लोगों के साथ लाइव आ रही हूँ. आई एम ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड देयर genre, their side of expertise, and उनसे कुछ कुछ सीखने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ. I'm trying to learn from them, and also obviously trying to help in whatever little way it can, because आप सब जानते हैं कि मैं एक एक्टर हूँ. ना मैं मेडिकल इंडस्ट्री से हूँ, ना ही मैं ज़्यादा चीज़ों के बारे में ऑब्वियसली नॉलेज रखती हूँ, लेकिन इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन इट कम्स टू वेरियड sides, like of different fields, चाहे वो medical हो, चाहे वो हम लोग we came with Blake, he did some amazing magic, then we came with some numerologists, we came with like some amazing lot of people जो बहुत अपने field में जाने हुए हैं. So today I'm coming live with somebody जिनका जिसके लिए वो माने जाते हैं, या जिनके लिए like I'm going to be discussing on that topic. So that I think is very interesting because I don't know, आप लोग chiropractic के बारे में क्या जानते हैं? जहाँ तक मुझे समझ में आता है, और बहुत ही बेसिक लेवल पे मुझे ये समझ में आता है कि यार स्पाइनल कॉर्ड में कुछ कोई स्पेसिफिक प्रॉब्लम हो गई, या बोन कोई पर्टिकुलर दर्द हो रही है, या कोई नर्व जब पिंच हो जाता है, या स्काइलोसिस कोई एक पर्टिकुलर चीज़ है जो यूजुअली अगर हम कहीं जाते सब बोलते हैं ये अगर दर्द हो रहा है तो आपको स्काइलोसिस ही होगा, या अलग अलग तरीके की जो कंडीशंस हैं जो हमें दर्द होता है जिससे रिलेटेड टू बोन. आई थिंक जो मुझे समझ में आता है स्पाइनल कॉर्ड से ज़्यादा रिलेटेड है, और इसलिए हम लोग जब अगर किसी की कंडीशन स्पाइनल कॉर्ड की फॉर लॉट ऑफ रीजन, जैसे देवलीना को भी अभी हुआ था L1 L2 में, फिर कई लोग होते हैं जिनको कोई स्पेसिफिक एक्सपर्टीज़ की ज़रूरत होती है, तो दवाइयाँ तो सब लोग लेते हैं, डॉक्टर्स के पास हम ऑब्वियसली जाते हैं, लेकिन कायरोप्रैक्टिस एक ऐसी प्रैक्टिस है जो कई लोग डरते हैं, कई लोगों को लगता है नहीं यार दे गोना क्रैक द बोन, कुछ गलत ना हो जाए, सो दे डोंट रियली गो टू देम. मुझे खुद बहुत डर लगता है क्योंकि व्हेन यू हियर द क्रक दैट नॉइज यू गेट स्कैर्ड, बट अगेन इज इट एक्चुअली डेंजरस, या कायरोप्रैक्टिस एक्चुअली हेल्प कर सकती है? मे बी आई एम गोइंग थ्रू सम पेन जिससे शायद 15 मिनट का कोई सेशन रिलीव कर दे. सो टुडे आई एम कमिंग लाइव विद Dr. Trishul Wadi. He is a chiropractor. He is known for what he does. He is one of the best in the world is what I know. तो मेरी टीम जब ढूंढ रही थी कि हमको कोई अच्छा chiropractic जो करते हैं उनके बारे में पता करते हैं, जिनके पास एक इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोफाइल हो, जिससे हम कुछ बात करने के लिए हमारे पास कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक्स हो. तो मैं यही मेरी जो पब्लिसिस्ट हैं वार्तिका, मैंने उनको बोला यार कोई कौन whom have you kind of pinned down? So she said Trishul Wadi. So I said okay, where is he from? So she said he's from UK. I said okay, so what is special about him? He's a chiropractor, great, but what is so special? So there were two things that caught my eye. Okay, the first thing was that obviously he's very good as a chiropractor, and he's outstanding in the field that he is. He's known in the world and all of that, of course. वो तो है ही. But interesting चीज़ ये है कि ये ना TikTok star भी है. He has that swag also. He's in what can you say? In sync with the technology, in sync with the youth today. he's fun, you know. And the best thing is, जो उन्होंने मुझे बताया नहीं, I had a short call with him and I said, so tell me, you know, you've been telling this and I've heard this उड़ते उड़ते कि chiropractic आप ऐसा claim करते हैं कि virtually हम मोबाइल या अपने टेक्नोलॉजी के या सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू या you know टेक्नोलॉजी से हम इतना you know इतनी एडवांस हो गई है कि हम chiropractic जो है वो ऑनलाइन कर सकते हैं, या कैन योर नॉलेज एक्चुअली हेल्प ऑनलाइन? And he said, you know what, I'm going to tell you only when I'm online. I was like, okay, fine, that's like a mystery. But it really intrigues me. क्योंकि chiropractor जहाँ तक मुझे पता है वो you have to physically go to the doctor. फिर वो you know कोई ना कोई bone पे एक particular pressure create करते हैं, जैसे कि वो गैस रिलीज होती है, जैसे वो आवाज़ आती है या whatever. You know, I don't know the technicality bit of it. But ये online कैसे हो सकता है? How is it possible? So anyways, I am obviously, you can see मेरे दिमाग में बड़े questions चल रहे हैं, बड़ा दिमाग चल रहा है मेरा, तो I should really not use my brain and tell Trishul Bhari to come online and share this live with me and give me the insights. And हो सकता है उनके insights आप लोगों के लिए बड़े beneficial हो. तो अगर आप लोगों के family में किसी को nerve pinching या spinal cord या bone related या you know अगर कोई भी ऐसा question है जो एक chiropractor can actually be of help, तो please अभी आप बने रहें, because the moment I get him live I will obviously have some lame questions, some interesting questions, a lot of things that he's going to tell us, and especially he's going to tell us how he can be helpful sitting out there in UK right now. So I'm going to get online with Trishul Bhari. Okay, so brace yourself and wait, and I'm going to call him. Okay. Is. So आप लोग जरूर पूछिएगा, ask your people there, ask your friends, ask you know elders. Hi Trishul.
Hi Doctor.
Hello, how are you? Good evening.
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Great, thank you so much for coming live with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for that really kind introduction. It was very kind of you. And well, and your team, Vartika, is awesome. I have to say, I told you that earlier on, but honestly, she is awesome. So I'm her biggest fan right now.
Oh, wow. I am so happy that you're saying this, because you have no idea the kind of research she does. And, you know, when I tell her that, you know, we need like people who can be of help, and obviously given the scenario of today, you know, the whole condition that everyone's locked down and at home. So she's like, don't worry, you know, now actually the media, social media has gotten us all together. You know, no one is far. The time zones will differ, but still, I think people with the right intention to help will come along. And I think it's her faith and my determination that's coming together. And I'm so happy that Vartika has got you on board with us. So welcome, Trishul. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
I am obviously a layman when it comes to, obviously, to the medical field or the medical bit of it. Like I told you, I'm going to have some silly questions. Bear with me. But I'm a curious child, so that helps. So you will have a lot of questions to answer. And whenever you want, tell me to shh, and I will.
Well, you know what? That's what we share in common. I was always that child who kept asking, why? But why? But why? But why?
Yeah.
And I still do that. That's one of my biggest questions. So I always believe there's no silly question. You know, so ask whatever you want. I'm sure your audience as well have some questions, and I'm very happy to help wherever I can and serve whoever I can. So that's great.
Super. So chiropractic for me, basically, there's a noise that always comes the moment somebody says, I want to go to chiropractor, and I'm like, you know what, maybe you should avoid it, because whenever I hear of it, all I know is they touch something and they go click, and there's like this noise that comes out of the bones, and that freaks me out. And honestly, that's why I've never suggested it to my mom or my dad, who might have needed it, or they should have probably gone. And this is the time I really need to know why the noise. Like, it's scary, but what exactly is the science behind it? And tell me that I don't need to be scared. So just tell me what it is.
All right. But simply, I don't care about the noise.
Okay.
All right. So to tell you why, because when I am creating that movement in someone's back or their spine or any part of their body, any joint, it's nothing to do with the sound at all from a clinical point of view. Okay. It happens to be a side effect for our outcome. So we'll go on this later, but basically in terms of what we're trying to achieve is overall optimum health. And one of the things that happens, as you spoke about earlier on, I've got my friend here. This is my first patient. No, just joking. Okay. So this is our spine, right?
See, this is the guru I was talking about, guys. This is the charisma that I was talking about. He's a doctor
I'm
with the
toning it
swag.
down for you right now.
No,
But,
don't. Please don't. I have like youth watching you, and tons
awesome.
of them are watching you. So please let it flow. It's okay. They don't take doctors that seriously. And
Fine,
you know,
fine. Well, look,
yeah.
at the end of the day, without getting too technical, it's very simple. And I'd like to break things down simply because I think that's what is important as well.
Yes.
Put simply, let's first of all look at your brain, which sits up here. And you have your spinal cord inside of your spine down in there, okay?
Correct.
If you have any restriction in the nerves which coming out of the spine, see all these little bits here? Yeah. If they get affected in any way, everything they supply will also be affected to some degree.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like if you have a light in a room with a dimmer switch, how much that is dimmed down, it depends on what's going on. Now, the most effective way to release that area is by moving the joints and getting them moving better. And there's tons of research to say not only does the signal for the nerves go down the spine and then into the body, but now the latest research also shows that that signal comes back from the body into the spine, back up into the brain, and it changes things in our brain. Which is super cool, because what then it does is it then goes back a second time and reinforces that message. So the brain and the body, the mind-body connection is different. It's stronger. It's better. So your brain better perceives what's happening in the body and the surrounding area. See, what happens is everything that we understand is just to do with the signals coming into our brain.
Yes.
And the signals coming into the brain are just like how you and I are speaking. The signal coming into my device is through the internet and everything else. So that's one option.
Correct.
Right? We could also communicate via snail mail, like letters or telephone or anything else.
Yeah.
So these are all the different ways the signals come back into the brain. And then the understanding of what the brain perceives it to be is dependent on past experiences, the current symptoms, their understanding of what the symptoms mean. Like you say, the crack is what you're worried about. Yeah. But some people say, I want the crack. And I'm like, listen, I don't care about that. Let's get you, what is the reason?
That's like the basic thing that people, the moment they think of a chiropractor, that's what a layman would think. But that's really nice to know the science and the thought behind it. And I didn't know that it could, do something with the brain and the whole neurological bit of it. That's really interesting to understand.
It's super powerful. I tell you what, if it was just about the crack, it wouldn't take 4 years to do a degree in this course. It would take maybe a few hours over a weekend. Okay.
So
and if I'm honest with you, I could probably teach somebody in a few hours how to crack someone's back. However, that's not chiropractic. Okay.
Of course,
it's not what we are doing. It is why we are doing what we are doing.
True.
Okay. So we have spinal manipulation is in any different professions. I'm also an osteopath as well. In the UK, it's very unusual to be in both. I think actually there's only 3 of us in the UK who are qualified in both osteopathy and chiropractic. So, I learned a lot of those cracking techniques, what people say. I like to call them adjustments. That's what we say scientifically. And
sounds better to me.
And the sound comes from literally just the gas releasing from the joint. That's what we most likely think. It's not that it's still been proven quite yet, but that's what we think happens. The gas releases from the joints. So, fine. So that happens. But so what? So a bit of gas release from the joint, how can that affect your health? It's got nothing to do with the joint necessarily itself. It's more to do with, fine, the tiny nerves going to the joint, they get reset. They go, oh, this joint is moving differently. Let me tell the brain there's something else happening here. The brain goes, that signal there is changed.
But how do you come to know this is the place which needs, is it like, because what I've seen, I saw your TikToks and I must say you're awesome at that.
Thank you.
But what I saw, it's not that there's a particular point that you're especially at the back, or the neck, especially at the back, you're kind of judging it with your hand, and I don't know how you get it, because it's obviously they're wearing clothes and there's not that, I don't know if there's a scan done before that, but the moment you go there is a scan before that.
Well, so
understanding of the place.
The posts that you see that I post on social media, that a lot of my colleagues around the world also post, the ones that they're clothed, they should really be doing some sort of examination before. The ones that you're seeing are just tiny snippets that we can share quite easily, and it becomes a bit of fun and intrigue, so then people understand, hey, what's that about? Hence why I call like this.
Exactly.
So way before anything, even before I put my hands on someone, I'll spend a ton of time of going through their full case history. Then we'll go on to like not only
But
the
what
current
qualifies a person to come to a chiropractor? Because what I understand is for bones, whether it's orthopedist or, like the basic knowledge of, if I have some problem, I'll say, Dad, go to this specialist or go to that specialist. When will I know that, this qualifies for a chiropractor? And, this means I should maybe first check with a chiropractor. What is the alarm?
All right.
When?
So there's two types. Okay. We have some people who are like in so much pain. And they just don't know what to do. They've tried everything they can. They've tried the medication, they've gone to specialists, and they've gone to all the different routes, and they all are awesome. There's nothing wrong with them. However, they haven't quite found what they needed.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, I've done all these things. There was no obvious trauma. There's nothing that's why am I in pain? I had a case like this just this morning where this patient has been in pain for years. There's been no specific day it started. It's just been there ongoing. Now it's got to the point where it's like, well, I can't do anything. So what's the point? Like, what's going on? I've not done anything for the last 3 months. I've been in lockdown. It's gotten worse in lockdown. What's going on, right? And we said, okay, fine. Let's peel back the layers of the onion. Let's figure out what's going on. So that's the first step. We first look at that. Then we'll go on to a diagnosis, examination. So we'll go.
No, but my point is what I'm really wanting to know is for the viewers also. Suppose there is a shooting pain, or maybe there's a mild pain. When should I resort to you and not to a doctor? Should I try the doctors first, go everywhere, and like you said, if nothing works, come to a chiropractor? Or is it better that I come to you first, and if it doesn't work, then go for maybe a surgery or whatever?
Before all that.
Before all that. Yeah. Okay.
Way before all that. Right away from when you're a child, when you're a baby.
Yeah,
when
you're born, your name is not there. The first thing you tell your mom, I'm going to cry later. First, I need a chiropractor.
Yeah, you know what? I'm seeing so many pregnant patients who, I'm saying, listen, what we're doing right now is developing your child. We're treating your child indirectly.
Are you serious?
Right from 100%. And so we're helping that baby develop and form because we're helping the mother's neurology. We're helping them calm down. We're helping them work better. We all know that if the mother's stressed, the baby will pick up on that, right?
Yes.
And also, the most traumatic thing any of us ever experience is our own births. Look, this is where I'm really grateful that I'm a guy, because this is what a baby's meant to fit through. It's not big enough, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
So we have to
Tell me
develop,
about it. Yeah.
right? And so we have to develop the baby, the mother's pelvis ready for birth, so it's a nice, easy birth. Now, look, most of the time, most average labor times are around 90 hours. We tend to get an average time of an hour and a half. Why is that? Because we've made sure everything's working optimally, make sure everything's functioning well. So everything in the nervous system is coordinating at time of delivery, cool, everything's working well. And then what happens, let's say, for example, I said to you, sorry I'm late, but I had an accident, my neck's hurting.
Yeah.
I said, Rishal, don't worry, go get it checked out, right? That's what you'd say.
Yeah, of course.
Then if that's the case, then if our children, all of us are experiencing our births and that's more traumatic than any accident we could ever have in our adult life, then every child should get checked up.
Oh.
That's just the key. Yeah, 100%. However, when you're developing the child right the way from birth, because the bones are so much softer, the nervous system's going to develop much better, right? Everything's going to coordinate much better in the whole body. Then when they're adults, they're going to be much better functioning, aren't they? It just kind of is a bit of common sense about that, right? It just makes sense if you did that.
True. I've never heard of this. Children, kids, infants, I've never heard of this.
Now, let me be clear, right?
Really
You'll see my videos, because I don't post the videos where we don't do the cracking techniques, because they don't get so much intrigue, okay?
Yes.
However, we obviously use different techniques. We've got a range of techniques that we use. So
it's not just to do with the spinal cord, like what I understood or read, or
and
it has to do with the neurological system throughout the body.
Correct. Exactly. What we're doing is using the body, the bones, as a tool to get to the nervous system. It's just what it is. And because I know that principle, and because if you look at the science behind it, so my background of all this stuff, I come from a very science background,
Okay.
So my dad's a pharmacist, my grandfather's a pharmacist, he's actually in India, my grandfather. So, I come from a very black and white medical, sciencey kind of background. My wife's a dentist, we've got medical doctors in the family. So, that's where I come from. So
Okay.
when I was thinking, okay, fine, how can I get involved in helping people? And there was just a calling to this. And I won't bore you with the long story of this. There's versions of that you can hear.
Yeah, that's why I
Long
wonder
story.
why chiropractic. You could have been anything else. And because obviously in the medical field there's just so many sides of it. Why chiropractic? What led you to this?
Well, actually, I was an osteopath first, and then I became a chiropractor. So what
Oh,
happened was, I was deciding in the UK, we do these exams before you go to university. So you decide what you're trying to do. And I was thinking, should I do heart surgery? Should I do dentistry? Should I go into computing? I was like not sure.
you're like
And
almost sounding like you're shopping. Should I like pick this one? Should I
yeah,
pick maybe
exactly.
the black one, maybe the blue one?
How
It's
cool
nice
is
to
that? We
know
live in a
a
world you can do
medical
what you want.
person would talk like that. Imagine,
Yeah,
like in my head, I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, if I go, this is what I'll do in the shop. But yeah, carry on with your.
Daljit, I was even meant to be an actor, right? I was going to come to Mumbai. I
You
was going to do
have
all
the
that,
knack of
right?
it. I'll give you
Oh, that's
that.
kind. Thank you. No. So I used to recite all the Bollywood film, Mohabbatein, all that. I used to kind of, recite all
Oh,
those dialogues.
I'm
I
gonna get
won't
to
give you.
this.
Not now, not now.
I'm
Maybe
coming.
later.
Not now, but
You
yeah,
have to
after
get me back. I'll
all
do
the
my dialogues
intelligent
in another
stuff,
call.
yeah, let's give them. Fine, sure. So tell me.
So,
Sorry.
so, so then, end of the day, my mum and my brother, they were going to see an osteopath for various things, and
Uh-huh.
mums know best. And mum said, "Hey, you know what? You might be good at this." I said, "I don't want to be touching people, doing this, that, the other. I don't want to do all that. I don't think it's interesting." He goes, "Well, okay. Why don't you just come along and at my next appointment and see what it's like?" I said, "Fine, let me do that." And I believe that everything connects. There's some divine universe type energy that everything just happens to slot in the right time at the right place.
Yeah.
So I went along, and this guy was awesome. He was so friendly, and he was so kind, and he explained all these things. And he said, "Well, just go along and just check it out, see what it's like." I tell you what, from there it just flowed. I went to the university. I checked out the open day. They invited me back for an interview. They gave me an offer. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do.
Wow, that's a
So just
calling,
kind of
really.
everything
Wow,
flowed. So everything kind of in my life just slotted together, which is cool. Um, and so
brilliant.
then when I was practicing for a few years, and
Uh-huh.
I said, I'm getting good results. I want to get great results. There's something I can't put my finger on what it was.
Okay.
And then again, just the answers came. You asked the right questions to get the right answers. And then chiropractic came about. So let me go look at that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there is a misconception that people think, oh, osteopaths and chiropractors, they butt heads and all this kind of thing. And I said, well, I seem to be living okay myself. The chiropractic part of me and the osteopathic part of me, they live okay. And I've got great chiropractic
But
and osteopathic friends. We all are lovely people. We're all trying to help people, just a slightly different way of
that's
doing it, but
that's
the same
brilliant.
principle,
Yeah.
right? So that's the same thing I believe for anyone, whether you're a pharmacist, whether you're a medical doctor, whether you're a surgeon, whatever you
Yeah.
are, our
But
principle is that.
I read in your, like, I was just going through some stuff. So how is fat loss anything to do with chiropractic?
That's
Of
more of
course,
a
you know why
personal
it's coming
story.
from me, but
Okay, so
I need to know.
I'll tell you what. When Kabhi Kushi Kabhi Gum came out, all of us
Uh-huh.
friends went to go watch the movie, right?
Okay.
And there's that scene where young Hrithik Roshan's character comes on, Laddu.
Ah, yeah. You
As
may want
soon
to
as he
spill
came
out one
on,
dialogue.
right? As soon as Laddu comes on stage, on
Uh,
screen, all of my friends say Trishul, because that's who I was. I was the kid, the fat kid.
no.
Yeah. So like I had no neck, I was like all like fat, I was just like a very,
No, I
what we
find
call it in
kids
India,
very
like a healthy
cute.
boy, a very, very healthy boy, right?
The Indian moms drool over those kids, like
Right, yeah.
pull their cheeks and do all
I
of
had
that.
all
So
that, right? So I had to
desi ghee ka
lose
kamal.
I had to lose fat because my cheeks were aching too much from all the aunties like pulling my cheeks, right?
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from. I think there's I get again yesterday I had a patient come in saying, "Do you know what? My husband had all these aches and pains. Is it because he's a bit overweight?" I said, "Okay, let's break it down. If it was just the fact that he was overweight, I know tons of other people who weigh the same and don't have the same symptoms. So what's going
Okay.
on, right? If
Okay.
somebody's 100 kilos, 150
Yeah.
kilos,
Yeah.
they don't have, everyone who doesn't hit that weight goes, oh yeah, I get back pain. It doesn't happen like that.
Okay.
So that was just the thing I wanted to give some value back in that post and say, well, this is what I've done. I don't know if that helps you or not, but this is what I've done. Let me, if it works, try it. Let's go,
But also one more thing I want to know, because like my father's like 75 and mom's around 70. So at that age, we all know arthritis or, all of those bone degenerating or, obviously with time, the immunity and a lot of things kind of lower down, and they don't want to resort to medicines. They don't want to go to the doctor. They are like, and like my mom has terrible knee pain because of arthritis. Can this side of, like, can it be of any help to patients with arthritis and somebody, with that kind of age as well?
Massively. So we
Really?
have, yeah, we have, so right away, all, like I always liken it to dentistry. Is there any age that you wouldn't send a patient to, or a friend or family to, a dentist? No. You know,
Mm.
so think of, some people say,
But how
you
does
know,
it help, like in a condition like arthritis, which I understand is, requires surgery eventually. Like my mom's been told that years back, she refuses to do it, the old school or whatever. But so we are like trying to find out something that strengthens it. So are you saying that chiropractic can strengthen whatever little that it can? How
well,
does
what
it
we're
help?
doing is we're
Yeah.
simply making the body function more optimally, right? So one of the
Okay.
reasons why arthritis, and what you're referring to, is osteoarthritis. So with
Okay.
arthritis, if we break down that word, it's
Yes.
Latin for inflammation. The itis is inflammation of your
Okay.
arth. Arth is your joints. And there's
Okay.
different causes of inflammation of the joints. So osteoarthritis is the degenerative that you're
Yes.
describing.
Yes.
So with that, when you have osteoarthritis, I've had some people who get really worried. Oh my gosh, if I get osteoarthritis, I'm going to end up like my friend in a wheelchair. I'm like, no, 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 that doesn't mean, there's different stages as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's just like any kind of wear and tear, right? Any
Yeah.
degeneration like that can
Yeah.
occur. So when I would see anyone, even if it was your parents or any age, first remember,
Yeah.
we have a process. We first have to go through the case history and find out
Yeah.
what's going on. Also bear in mind though, again, like I said, surgeons are great, medical doctors are great, all the other
Yes.
options out there are great. But to someone who's got a hammer, everything looks like looks like a nail to them. They
Yeah.
start doing
Yeah.
the only thing they know, and that's great. However, there are some things that we can prevent. So
So
what we
there's no
want to do,
particular age you're saying, like it'll help anybody of any age. So
no,
when I was talking to you on the phone,
yeah,
what I gauged is, and which is what I've been, also promised the viewers, is that you've come up with something really interesting, which honestly it's very hard to believe because I can't, in my head, like, I'm trying to be this over smart girl trying to crack the code, but I couldn't, because there's no way in hell you can do chiropractic sitting in UK or online. You can do psychiatric treatments, you can do a lot of other things, but you cannot do this. And which, what I gauged is, what you've come up with something that can help our viewers sitting where they're sitting right now, which is at their home, and not get out. So do you want to tell us a bit about that?
yeah, it's so, again, like, these things can get so complex, you can get so lost down the rabbit hole. I always
Yeah.
like to keep things simple, because for me,
Yeah.
simplicity is key for anything.
Yeah.
And so I liken it to a stool. We need 3 legs on a stool
Yeah.
to keep it
Okay.
stable, minimum. If you
Minimum.
have
Yeah.
2 legs, it'll fall over. If you have one
Of
leg, it'll
course.
definitely fall over.
Of course.
So
Three
minimum
to
3. So
manage. Yes.
what you see on the videos that you see somebody doing an adjustment, that's a physical thing. So that's
Yeah.
component 1, leg 1.
Yeah.
The second thing which we spoke about is the neurological, which is
Yeah.
how it affects the nervous system. So that's number
Yes.
2.
Yeah.
And then the third is the emotional, how
Okay.
we feel about those things.
Okay.
So, like I said to you earlier on, if I've got one patient, I tell them they've got osteoarthritis, they cry because they've got a friend in a wheelchair, they think that's that. If I tell another friend that they've got osteoarthritis, or another patient they've got osteoarthritis, they'll go, oh, okay, that's fine, because they know people who live completely fine, healthy lives with it. So,
Yeah.
what is that? The emotional component, what they're being fed.
Correct. Correct.
Everything that we are experiencing is down to our 5 senses.
Yeah.
So, all those 5 senses, they come back into our brain, and our brain processes that information. And part of our brain is a part called the limbic system.
The limbic system. Okay.
Limbic system. The
Okay.
limbic system is just like in that movie, Inside Out, the Disney movie.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's just like that. It tells
Ah.
you what emotion to experience.
Oh,
It's the
interesting.
processing center of your emotions.
Okay.
So all this data comes into your brain. Your brain goes, what does it mean? It gives it to the limbic system. The limbic system goes, I should feel happy. So then you get flooded with happiness hormones.
Oh,
And you get those
interesting.
euphoric feelings. So, I should feel sad. Okay, so you suddenly start crying, you feel sad and down and things like that.
Yeah.
When you know the neurology and the neuroscience behind these things, and in our Indian culture, in our Eastern culture, we know all this fundamentally. If you look at our ancient information, that's all sitting there in those, vastly important, really clever books, meditation, things like this. These are all really powerful. And
But
so
who
there's,
should come to you? Like, who are the eligible candidates who should approach you for this? Like,
all right, so there's
yeah.
either those who are super afraid to go and see anyone in their clinics right now, because they are either, from a law point of view in their country, if they cannot leave their house because they're quarantined, or if they happen to be in a high risk category, or if they want to come and see me but they can't physically come to my clinic because they have to fly. Like you mentioned TikTok, 51% of my audience is in India, right? And they were like, when can you come and see me? I said, listen, let's figure out a way. So I had to find a way. And I really believe this whole process that's happened in the world, for me at least, I take it as another sign from the universe saying, hey, Tushar, let's make a shift. Let's serve people a slightly different way. So that's what we're doing now, So that's one example. Another example is if you just literally want to get things working better, you're finding that you're stuck. You're where you are right now. There's where you want to be. And for whatever reason, whether it be that you can't exercise properly, whether you can't sit at your desk more hours than you need to. I see so many people like that because they're working from home in a different environment.
This is like the most common thing which people are suffering is lower back pain, neck pain, because there's too much of usage of the mobile, which was not there. There was much exposure.
I disagree.
But, I think that's why.
I disagree with all the tech neck stuff. I completely disagree with all that. I'll tell you why. There's nothing that has changed, actually. So I'll give you an example.
I've never sat at home for this long. This is
before technology came along.
Before not technology. But I had reasons to step into my car, go somewhere, meet a friend, go to work.
Yes.
I was physically walking. So if I have a constant backache, I had a cesarean. So I have a constant backache. If I stand for too long in my shoots or whatever, my back hurts like crazy. But
I've seen your beautiful son, and he is not a newborn.
No, he's not, and it's still pain.
Therefore, exactly. This is your prime example. You're perfect for this. I'll tell you why. Watch this.
I'm the patient, guys. I'm the patient.
Watch this.
Wait until I get cured. Tell me.
So your tissues that we had to cut through for the cesarean birth, they have healed.
Okay.
They have to. If I cut my arm,
but it was never there before. I never experienced that shooting pain. There's one dot that pains, like lower, probably the last of the spine or whatever, the last thing that ends. So it pains really bad. If I stand for too long, it's like somebody's like pinching through that thing. So
watch this. If we let's go back to common sense for a second, because that's where I like to live, right? It just makes sense.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. So if we know that if you've cut yourself somewhere and within a few days or few weeks, if it's a deeper cut, it's healed.
Okay.
Then why
but it was never there before, because it was literally after birth. It was never there because I used to shoot before that much more. I do it probably much less now. I'm like a senior artist now, so I'm like, putting my weight around and stuff like that, but much less now. But when I used to stand, initially, like before Jaden, it wasn't at all. Like I didn't know what that pain was, and that's what everybody kind of told me that, oh, it happens after birth. I was like, maybe it has something to do with it.
Exactly that. Okay, watch. So there's two parts in our brain. There is the conscious mind and there is the subconscious mind.
Okay.
You have been telling or you've had data coming from everyone.
Yes.
Oh, but Dalji, this happens after birth. So
that's why, and I've lived with it. I've lived with it for 6 years. And
so your conscious mind then seeps that message into your subconscious mind.
So
and
you
your
were saying it's not because of
watch this. If the tissues, if you'd come to me 2 days after your cesarean, and then that would be a different story because those tissues are still healing. We're not talking about that with you right now. There is no reason why you should be in pain. And how do I know this though without even examining you so far? Because I look at the science. I like to be a science guy. I look at the research.
Okay.
Dalji, we touched briefly upon scans. And the thing is with scans, with MRIs and X-rays, all these things, they've done so many studies. They've taken patients or members of the public who are asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms, no pain, no discomfort, nothing. Zero.
Yes.
They think they're healthy. They've done scans of their spines. And there is a considerable number of them have a herniated or slipped disc.
Please tell me I'm fine. This live is
Let me explain this to you though. Hear me out.
Yes.
Let's look at this. If you think that there are all these people who have no symptoms but have herniated or slipped discs, then when somebody has pain and they happen to find a herniated or slipped disc, the one cannot mean the other. A herniated disc or a slipped disc cannot be the only cause of the pain.
Correct.
Are you following? Let's say, for example, I'll give you a very different example. If I go for a run today And in the UK, you know, everyone around the world thinks it rains all day long. And it doesn't.
Yeah,
It's nice and beautiful and sunny today. But let's say I
okay,
went for a run and I happen to go
okay,
every morning in the morning, right? It's
uh-huh,
nice and bright or whatever. But as
yeah,
soon as I go for a run, it happens to rain. And
yeah.
then I come back home. So then does that mean that every time that when Threshold goes for a run, it rains?
It's not
No.
gonna rain. Of course
It
not.
just
Yeah,
happened, those two things coincided. That's the
correct.
same principle here. If the studies show there is no symptoms when you've got herniated discs, when you find a herniated disc and there are symptoms, those two things just happen to coincide. So let's come back to you. The
Yeah,
reason that you're experiencing pain is because your brain believes, your nervous system believes subconsciously that because you've had a cesarean section and
yeah. I've been convinced about it, so that I've
because
never
everyone
really
tells
gone to
you.
anybody because of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I
So
thought,
everyone's
this
told you that,
happened.
okay, you should experience this pain. So now you
Yeah,
have to manifest that physically in
so
your
I've been
body.
living with it. Yeah.
Exactly, but you don't have to live with it.
Oh, so
The
I need.
choice, and purely because I know those tissues have had to have healed. Because we just know
Yeah,
the
but
science of it. Those tissues have
correct,
healed. So the
correct.
problem is not there. The problem is in
Okay.
here, and we have to change the neurology of that. And we do that by the three methods: the physical, the neurology, and the emotional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we go deeper. If I was to, I believe, if I was to do a session with you, I'm sure somewhere in there, because, you know, you're an awesome mom, you want to look after your son, you want to be doing great things for him. Somewhere in there will be this challenge, right? There'll be this deep connection with you, thinking, okay, you know what? If I am a mom, it means this. If I do
Yeah,
this, that means I do this. You know, I had a
yeah.
patient many, many years ago. Which this is one of my first patients, and you know, she was about just under 30 years old, and
Okay,
she had pain. She had pain for about 10 years in her back.
okay.
But she came to
I've
see
lived
me.
with it for 6 years now.
Okay, but
Okay.
this patient had pain for 10 years. However, she came to see me at that point after 10 years. You're saying, when does anyone know? She came after 10 years because 6 months ago, she gave birth to her first child.
Ah,
Now, I'm there,
okay.
first appointment, taking the notes, taking the history. I'm listening, yes, yes, okay, this is happening, this is happening. And then she says, what's making it worse in her back is that when when her daughter cries, she has to pick her up, and the picking up her daughter made the
The
pain worse.
yeah.
And then I'm taking it, okay, fine, fine. And then suddenly I hear her crying and look up, and she's just tears and tears and tears. And I said, what's happened? She goes, I'm not a bad mother. I said, what?
Oh,
She goes, I'm not a bad mother. I said, I didn't say that. And she goes, I know, but I'm not. I said, okay. And then it came out that what was happening was she'd be out in public in the supermarket or in the high street or somewhere. Her child would cry, and she had this choice. She had to make a choice. Do I? Because you know, when someone, you know, in public, if you hear a noise, everybody just turns. They're not making any judgments. They just turn because it's a noise. So
yeah,
when her child would cry, everyone would turn and see, oh, who's crying? Where's the noise coming from? That's it, right?
yeah.
The meaning she gave that was, oh,
That
everyone's
they're
looking at
judging
me.
me.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
judging me as a mother.
What am
Yeah,
I going
that.
to
But
do
I
next?
think all the mothers experience this.
Correct.
I was flying to Bali, I think, and my son threw a fit. He was on the floor crying because he wanted somebody else's kid's car. And I remember I was like, okay, I had that too. I was like, oh my God, I've raised him very well. This is not me. This is not me. I took it all on myself. So I completely understand that girl's plight. So then what
So,
is it? Is a
so
medical
well, she has
condition
this
that she
choice,
had?
right? If she
It
picks up
was,
her child, then everyone stops judging her, but she has this excruciating 10 out of 10 pain in that moment. And what does she do? Or she can save her back pain and she
but
can
she's
leave her child crying.
picking the child.
Exactly. So guess
Of
what?
course she is.
That was her pain point. The judgment, not the physical pain in her body. The judgment was the pain point. So that's what we treated. So
Okay.
that you can do with anyone.
No, but there was a physical condition that you're saying that there was that was treated as well. Whatever the
Well, yes and no. What I'm saying to you
it
is,
can't be because she was being judged and emotionally she was going through that pain couldn't
of
be caused
course,
by that.
absolutely it would be. Because it changes the blood flow in your body. I'll give you another example. One thing I notice right now, generally in the world, everyone's slightly more stressed,
Yes, of course.
right? So you
Of
mentioned
course.
neck pain, these things, and I said, I disagree, Daljeet, right? The reason is because if I was in your room right now, if imagine there was a tiger came in, right? You're
I
gonna
don't
get,
know.
you have your body responds in two ways, okay?
I'll
So,
freeze. Me, in given these conditions, I was chased by a bull when I was a child. I was quite young at that time. my sister said, run. Like my pet name is Deepa. She said, run, Deepa, run. And I was barely walking. I couldn't, I froze. So in conditions like that, I freeze. Yes, please, go on.
So I was going to say there's two options normally, fight or flight, but you've got a third one, you freeze.
I freeze. That's why I gave the first one away. I freeze. And people say, move, move in my head. And I'm telling my sister, I ran, Dada, I ran. She's like, no, you were barely walking. I was like, oh, I freeze. There's a third one. So see, I've given you something.
Yeah, you have given me a third one, absolutely. So the reason what happens is all of the blood in our body, when we get stressed, it shunts from our core into our arms and legs, into our muscles, into our arms and legs. The reason is because we're either going to run normally, okay, run away, so we have the blood in our legs to then sprint away, or we have the blood in our body to then fight. So what that means is then it changes your whole blood flow in your whole body. You can't control that if you get stressed.
Okay.
You follow? So if that happens, and the blood flow, remember the blood also supplies the nerves, and the nerve supply tells the blood where to go and what to do. It opens and closes arteries. So this is what happens as well. So the two are combined, the arterial flow and the nerve flow.
But what you're saying is I'm getting pain because of the emotional bit and there's no physical.
Well, we know this as well.
Problem.
If there's less blood flow to a certain area,
I'm secretly hoping you say it's an emotional thing. It kind of helped me not go to a doctor and get it checked.
I'm sure you're going to get the best sleep tonight. You're going to wake up going, oh my gosh, I feel like 10 times better.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure. But we haven't even done it proper. This is not a proper session. This is just having a chat. A normal session, it'll be really effective. You can see some of the people that I've even done testimonials on my profile with. You'll see them. They're like, wow.
This testimony, almost, I don't know how many people are watching. So go for it.
Well, no, there was a guy that I see in the clinic, and because of lockdown, we couldn't see him physically. So I went through the process with him, and he says, Trishul, it's weird. It feels like you've just physically adjusted my neck, but you obviously haven't touched me. I said, exactly, because we're doing the same thing, just a different way. Right?
Okay.
So when we don't have blood flow going to a part of the body, that part of the body is still alive. Those tissues are still alive, but they have to then respire differently, and they respire without oxygen. When that happens, we have lactic acid, which causes pain.
Okay.
So we have to change the nervous system to send blood to those areas. And that's the process I go through with my patients on these virtual sessions. And suddenly when that area gets flooded with correct blood flow, not only do the nutrients go up, but also oxygen goes up. So the lactic acid goes down, and then the pain is resolved.
Oh, so this thought or this way of practicing it helps when you're getting that pain. You should start thinking there's nothing, and it's all good.
I wish we all knew this much more. Like I told you, from the moment your parents even thought about having you, that's when we should be thinking about this. So any of these couples at home who are spending lots of time together, who haven't got children, start thinking about having treatment now for your children and their children. I tell you what's amazing about the body. They did this study, all right, on rats. These poor rats always get studied on. But they took these rats.
Okay.
And what they did was they did a very similar experiment to Pavlov's dog. So what they did was they gave them this scent of a rose.
Okay.
And at the same time they released the scent of the rose, they gave them a little sharp electric shock. And then they measured them straight after, and they found they had increased stress hormones. So they did this a few times just to kind of get the pattern in there. Now that first generation of rats then had a second generation of rats. That second generation of rats, what they did was they released that scent of the rose, did not give them the electric shock, and they measured them, and they had an increase in stress hormones.
What? Oh.
Wait, then that second generation had third generation. Same thing. This carried on for 14 generations.
Okay. Wow.
So whatever has happened to our past ancestors, that has a knock-on effect on some level.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
And those tissues are not the same in each person. They're different tissue. They're different parts of the body. So how does that manifest? The nervous system is lined in there. The atoms are lined there. We know the atoms are all wavelengths. We break everything down.
Yeah.
It's all scientific. It sounds woohoo, but when you look at the science, it's like, wow, this is crazy stuff. But
I was obviously wondering, what you're going to say, because virtually treating patients. So that's what I was thinking, that physically when a chiropractor is not there, how is he going to help? But this connection of neurology and body and, all of that is actually quite interesting. I've never heard of it. I'm obviously going to read more about it. I'm going to understand more of this because, like, even like when I had Jaden, he was barely few days old. I started like my this thing would just lock like when I would pick him up because I was all alone, like, doing things. So I used to pick him up. He was a premature, 2 months early. So I had to pick him up every 15 minutes. So at one point of time, this would just like stay there. And it would actually, I had to push it and it would make that cracking noise by itself.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I would continue because I knew that I had to do it and there was no other way out. But I used to always wonder why. Like then like somebody said, tie something around and whatever. So, but I don't know if that was emotional now that you're saying like, was it neurological? Now I'm like going back in my whole case study. I'm doing my own case study now.
I mean, remember, that's soon after he was born. You
Yes.
would have still been having some sort of relaxing hormones and things like that. So the soft tissues are softer. So as long as you understand all those things, I'm not saying don't have physical treatment at all, but you'll see
Yes.
so many cases where people have tried drugs, surgery, they've tried physical treatments. All those things aren't working out, and you can get the same results by a virtual session. But as long as it's applied this way, not everyone's doing virtual. Most people aren't doing virtual sessions this way. Most are giving generic advice or giving some, a few exercises, things like that. And of course, I do that too. But also, there's another component: handling the emotional, combined with everything else that we know. This is neuroscience. It's very simple, and you just have to go through that. Well, I say it's very simple. I break it down and make it simple. That's one of my qualities. But we break that down to make sure the body functions optimally. Once we get out of the way of ourselves, the body is so amazing. It'll just do lots of wonderful things.
It's actually very interesting. This whole concept, I never thought. Obviously, I know, for real that it's all neurological. Like even when, women have to like give milk or like to the baby, and in India they say be happy, just be happy. Like
Yes,
when you're feeding the baby, the
exactly.
only thing they keep saying is be happy, be happy. So I didn't understand that because there was lots happening when Jaden was born. But I remember that being happy actually worked in seconds at one point of time when I was feeding Jaden. And I was like, really? Because I think I was truly happy at that particular moment. And that's probably the only thing that I experienced, at that point. And I was like, oh my God, how can it be like? And you're right. Like when I look back, it was like within seconds of genuinely not just putting up a smile and being like, okay, I'm like happy. It was
Exactly.
very genuine. And
That's
actually,
that's it. I was gonna say you have to be. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be
you
happy. It
can't.
doesn't work. You have to be
Yeah.
genuinely happy about it. Yeah,
Like I
100%.
could give milk for about 5 months and then it kind of stopped and whatever. But in during that time, I was so stressed about not being able to like again judging myself as a mother, and I couldn't do anything about it. I think because I was thinking so much, I couldn't do it. But once I think genuinely, I was happy about something, and it immediately, started pouring, and I was like, oh my God! Like then I understood what my mom, because we always assume, in India you think, oh, old school and they know nothing, and you don't take them seriously. But what you're saying with so much study is exactly what my mom says with absolutely no knowledge of medical science, and I think that's what it comes
It's
down
so
to.
so funny. I remember in my first month of my bachelor's, and
Uh-huh.
we had a project and I did some group work, and I was the only Indian in the university in that class. So I said, okay, fine, let me. And basically, the project was about what are the modalities or ways of treating XYZ are. So I said, okay, fine, let me teach about haldi. So I did this whole presentation about haldi. No one had even heard about this. This is talking about in 2002, like 18 years
Haldi,
ago. Haldi, yeah,
turmeric.
turmeric. So
Oh,
this is 18 years ago. No one had heard about this. They're like, what's Trishul talking about? This yellow powder thing. Where can you get it from? This, that, the other. And now you look at it, 18 years on, you can get the turmeric latte in
everywhere.
Starbucks, right? You know what I mean? It's like the thing.
Yeah,
What
of
we
course.
already know, we know so much, and there's so many things that we have available to us. We just have to go back to who we are meant to be. And that's so powerful. We forget that.
That,
And
that
I
is.
think I'm not saying ignore medical science. I'm not saying don't take drugs. But here's the question. Most people tend to run to drugs quicker than they need to. When I have
Hmm.
patients who come in and say, I've been having pain, I've been taking XYZ drugs, I say, okay, which drugs have you been taking? They say paracetamol, cocodamol, diclofenac. So let's check. Do you have a deficiency in any of those drugs? No.
No.
Nobody has. I
Yeah.
100% guarantee no one in the world has ever survived or ever existed in past, present, or future because they've got a deficiency in aspirin, paracetamol, diclofenac, diazepam, cocodamol. No one has.
No one. Yeah.
What that does, though, a lot of those drugs, what they do is they dull down the nervous system. That's why they have warning labels. Do not operate heavy machinery on these things because you can't function optimally.
Function, correct.
Right? So we got to
Correct.
think, okay, fine, that might get you by, that might get you okay for a couple of days if it's so severe. But at the same time, let's think about it. How do we resolve the problem properly, you know? And
Yeah.
that's the key thing. Get to the source of the problem. And sometimes, yes, sometimes the source is in the physical body. Most of the time, it's in the nervous system.
Nervous
And the
system.
central nervous system. Go to the head office.
That's so true. There's a viewer called Mystic Review 24. She's saying, I have scoliosis and cervical spondylitis. Only if I've spelled it right. Any advice for her? Anything that you'd like to say?
Book an appointment. I'll tell you why. And I know it sounds like I'm not making sales pitch. Don't care where you go, but go somewhere where you trust them. The reason I say that is because everyone fears scoliosis. Now, I'll tell you what, like we were speaking about osteoarthritis earlier on, there are some people who fear it. Same thing with scoliosis. Some people fear it. Majority of people...
What exactly is that for the people like me who have no clue what it is?
You're right. Thank you.
Yes.
So I'll bring my friend back here, okay?
Yes, you'll have to lift it a little because I can't see it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, perfect.
So what we have, this is the side view, okay?
Okay.
But when we look at the back view, this is the back. So if you touch your back right now, and the viewers can do the same, you can feel those bubbly points in your spine. That's these bubbly points here.
Okay.
Now, when we have a spine and we're looking at the back, now we're going to look at this, let's say, if we want to say an ideal, hypothetical, perfect world. So we're looking at a straight spine. A scoliosis is this, a side bend. Now, it could be any side bend. It could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. All these are different scolioses. So you can already see that the degree of scoliosis changes depending on what's going on.
Is it genetical? Is it like caused by some
be a range of
accident, or is
different
it like
reasons.
it could be a range?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, you can see a lot of cases. Let's say, so we're talking about newborns, right? Earlier on, my youngest patient so far has been. Well, guess. I'll give you a guess. I'll give you two guesses.
Okay.
How young do you think the youngest patient I've ever treated has been physically in the clinic?
Okay, now I'm thinking maybe the mother of the child. Why
okay,
was in the making?
Yeah, so you're good. You already understand this. 2 days old though. This was 2 days old, and this is a family that never had this type of treatment before. So the parents had never had this type of treatment. The child was a firstborn child, so the parents had a newborn for them. And what happened was the father was fairly large, like he wasn't fat or anything, but just had a large frame, and the mother had a petite frame. So the baby had a combination of these genes within her. And what happened was, as she was developing in the mother's womb, she was getting squished a little bit. So sometimes you have this side bend in the scoliosis type in the spine, but she also had a little bit in her skull. So when she was born with her jaw slightly off like this. And so the problem happened was, luckily the midwife said, okay, I've seen this sort of thing before. You need to go to a clinic like these. So they looked us up and they found us. This was years and years ago. And so they brought her in and they said, well, first they said in a nicer way, they said, our baby doesn't look quite right. And, we're having some challenges. We're worried about X, Y, Z. And I said, well, is she feeding? Like you mentioned, feeding, because her jaw wasn't sitting right. She couldn't feed properly. The nasal tubes were all challenged because that's all squished again. It wasn't breathing well, wasn't feeding well. Those are important factors for a newborn, right? So what we did, and again, newborns and babies that young are very interesting because they're not like you and I. They don't judge anything. They just lie there and they're waiting for something to happen. They're not worrying, oh, do I like this guy? How much is it going to cost? How long is it going to take? They're just lying there waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit easier to treat that way. But essentially what we did, she had this scoliosis in her skull. And just by some gentle treatment, some working through what we're doing, she developed within just a couple of weeks. She was developing back into better alignment. She's now, I think, 9 or 10 years old. This was a few years ago. And what happened was after we looked after her, the parents had a second daughter. And without question, they brought her straight in. The parents
just to get a check.
100%. And they all come in as family. They look after the whole family all these years on. And they're beautiful little children. But here's the question, Daljeet. If the midwife hadn't suggested, hey, just go get this checked out. I don't want to be rude or to anyone, but I'm just thinking hypothetically, what if that George stayed that way? And then that child then grew up, maybe they got picked on or bullied on at school because kids are sometimes mean. Of course. Maybe they had some difficulties.
But are there surgeries also for it's a very big thing that would happen to a child? I'm sure the parents would resort to a lot of things. But what I understand from you, or what I'm at least, gauging, is that people should just get themselves checked once, for sure.
Yeah.
Whatever age, like I should get my son checked as well. Like everyone should get their, not just the spinal cord. I think in general, how do you check the neurological bit of it? It's just the emotional side that you can't. You're not saying you go to a psychiatrist also and get yourself checked. Is
Well,
that what you're like?
if
How do
it
you check the
warrants it, why
neurological bit?
not?
I
You know, I
understand.
mean, let's look at it this way. You know, we go check our cars, we check our you know, we check our teeth, we check all these different other devices, we check our phones and
But I
devices.
think in India, no, especially going to doctors without, like I've dealt with this for 6 years. I've not gone. I've just assumed that I've given birth. So, this happens to women who give birth. So I've lived with it, being educated, I don't care. Like I'll go. Nobody stops me. But I've just been told that, and somewhere in the back of my mind, I believe that that's okay. You got to live with it. But in India, usually people kind of, I don't think they wait for the worst to happen, but psychiatrists and all are still taken as a taboo and like taken as a whole thinky, are you like mentally retarded? Why would you like go there? So, so you are saying not only to get yourself checked physically in terms of your bones or your physical self, you must go and get yourself checked in terms of your mental stability as well, because that kind of
You
contributes
know
to
how
physical pain.
yeah. You know what happens is when I see my patients, it's a little bit like, they've had a dimmer switch on in their life. And so they think normal is 50%. And when I dial them up and they go to 100%, they're like, I forgot all this existed, because they had experienced it a little bit when they were a child. They're like, oh, I could do this, I could bend down to pick something up off the floor, I could jump off the wall, all this sort of stuff. But somewhere, someone, the society, the world was said, oh yeah, this is just old age. I can tell you, I've studied so much studies. I've got 2 degrees. I've studied all the books I can study. Nowhere have I read a diagnosis old age. Nowhere. It doesn't exist. So we need to change the language that we're using in society, because that's affecting us emotionally. That's manifesting us to different physical body. We think, oh yeah, I should be waking up with groans and moans in the morning and shouldn't be able to, move my body correctly. But actually, that's not true. The truth of it is, you should be like me. I can bounce out of bed, and my wife will tell you that. Once I wake up, I'm like, I go. Why is that? Because I make sure I do all the things I can to make sure I work optimally. And so I'm not telling anyone to do what they want. However, I'm saying, but what if? What if there was a way that you could be more than you are now? What if that does close the gap from where you are to where you want to be? There's a beautiful movie that Shah Rukh Khan did, right, recently. And they were talking about the taboo thing about psychiatry and all that.
Yeah.
I think it's such a beautiful movie. And I think that's the kind of thing that I'm so glad there's conversation around this, around mental health and things. I'm not saying do a mental health pitch. I'm saying took it overall health. Overall health is your body's ability. This is one of my definitions of health. Health is your body's ability to heal. If your body can heal really well, that's what you need. It needs to be able to reset itself. When the balance is imbalanced, then that's when you cause problems. That's when you have problems, because the body can't get back to where it's meant to be. So we need to remove things. And also, look how amazing the body is. Look at all the examples in society where we keep abusing the body. People smoking too much, people drinking too much, people eating too much, or eating the wrong foods, yet it survives. Why? Because our nervous system is millions of years old, and it's got us to this point in evolution, whether you believe it or not, whatever it might be. We've got to this point in the world because we've survived, except we don't have that predator, that tiger coming to attack us anymore, because we're well protected in our homes. So our stresses are now, oh, that person wrote a bad comment about me. What does that person think about me? Or will I have a job tomorrow? Those are the different stresses we have. But we still physiologically respond in the same way, because evolution takes a while,
So true.
So we need to just understand that and go back to...
And also what you're saying, what I understand is you don't have to live with it. Just get yourself checked, whether it is more of a mental treatment or more of a physical treatment. First weigh that, and then decide whether you need to go to...
Well, let me ask you this. If I have a problem with my car, right, I'm not going to bother messing around with it, because I'll probably get it wrong. I give it to an expert. If they say it's not to do with their problem, they need to get a new car, fine, I'll get a new car. We can't get a new body, but we need to work on it, right? And that's the important thing, that we need to just get it checked out. What's the worst that could happen? You go to a consultation. They tell you what
you're all good. Yeah.
Well, the worst could happen if they say, oh, we can't help you. Carry on. Fine, I'll carry on as you are. Right? The best could be that you get really well. So that's what you can do.
So true. So true. So, so what I understand is very clearly is that get yourself checked, see which part of you needs help, whether it's the mental bit or the physical bit, and then get yourself, treated accordingly. But like again, when I come back to chiropractic and the question again, because obviously that is what the viewers are also asking continuously. They are all asking about scoliosis. They're asking about cervical spondylitis. They're saying they've got themselves checked many times. Not that they've not got themselves checked, but still it's not getting rectified. So, do you think chiropractic has the power to heal completely? Like you're saying that if nothing works, you think chiropractic can completely do the wonders, or you're saying give it a shot, maybe. Like
I think
how much do we rely on the study of chiropractic when it comes to people who've shown themselves, been to the doctors, taken the medicines, and still they are not finding relief? What about them?
I think it's important for everyone, not just the public, but also all the healthcare practitioners to have an open mind. So, for example, I believe that if I have a patient who comes to see me, they want my help, I will help them with what I can. If they
Yeah,
say, do you think I should go to see an acupuncturist, go to my medical doctor, I say, fine, let's get all the information from everyone. Let's
yeah.
then make a sensible approach to make a plan with everyone in place. Have a team. Why wouldn't
No,
we have
that I understood. But what I'm trying to understand is chiropractic is something that is not very common. Like common in terms of not everyone resorts to that the moment I have a spinal issue or a bone or a fracture or something implanted. The problem related to any of this, I wouldn't directly go to a chiropractic, which I understand in general. Like for me also, like I had to actually read more about it, understand what the science is about. I'll probably go to an orthopedist or I'll directly go to a doctor. What I'm trying to like ask you is, will chiropractic help me heal when nothing works? I know that it is a mix of every, you'll have to take every, if it, how severe it is, maybe you require surgery and all that. But I'm saying, should people who've gone to the doctor and not finding solutions should once see a chiropractor as well?
Yeah.
Do you
So let
think
me answer it a
because
different
it's
way, which will
related to
help.
bones and all of that?
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
understand it a
yeah,
different way. If you imagine I have 10 people lined up here,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And those 10 people over here, there is me. I'm Superman, okay? And over here, we have somebody on the deathbed. And you got every different degree in between there. Now,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I believe that we can do is you take, let's say you're at number 6, for example, for whatever
Okay.
reason. I believe we can get to number 7 or 8 at the very least. I would
Okay.
wish number 10 for everyone. I believe realistically what I've seen, you've at least gotten better. But that one or two person above, the reactions in people when they go, I can do that again. I can go hug my kids. I can go play golf. I can do, I can sit at my desk for longer. I can do what.
Have you had a
That's tough.
patient who probably, like you said, like the kid completely that must have required sessions. But has it happened that somebody's come with like a long pending pain somewhere and you just like cracked or did something and he's like he just woke up to a miracle life. Like he just woke up and said, what? Did it just happen? Like has something like this happened as well?
Yes and no. I'll tell you why I say yes and no. Because
Okay.
yes, they felt, oh my gosh, that feels amazing straight away.
Yeah.
However, the thing is that there's so many other messages deep ingrained in their body where it says, oh, but I should have this pain. I should live with it. So they then revert back. It's like anything though, if I go to the gym and I go and get really fit and healthy and I get all the muscles I want, I'm like, great, never need to have any more exercise ever again. No, it doesn't work like that. Oh no, I have the best meal in my life, never need to eat ever again. It doesn't work like that. So
Never
we
will.
need to be mindful about these things. We need to closely monitor what's happening with our health. Until you put your
Yeah.
finger on the pulse, excuse the pun, but we need to really keep a
Yeah.
close eye on what's happening. And only
Yeah.
until then will we know what's going on. And both the patient is correct and we are correct. I know when someone's not feeling right, I can tell because I can do the objective test. I can measure black and white what's going on. And they'll go, yeah, I'm not feeling 100%. What's going on with that? And that
Yeah.
too is important. And also my patients, they come to me with their goals. They say, okay, this is what we want to do. There is a patient of mine that I'm seeing. He's no longer in any pain. His next goal is now, and I've been seeing him for a little while because we look after him for the maintenance. Like you go to a
Mhm.
dentist for a checkup and things like that. Or you get your
Oh.
car, your service, all this sort of thing. And his next goal is now, Trishul, you know what? I've been to my medical doctor, did not check up. I'm borderline, whatever, disease. I think he was, I have to look at his notes, but I think he's diabetic or something like that. He's like, he's borderline. He said, now what I need to do, Trishul, is I need to go and exercise more. I said, great. And he comes in with his two beautiful sons. They're quite young, 7 and 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
And so I know, because he doesn't always listen to everything I say, but I said to him, listen, those two boys there, those are the future men of the world, and they're looking
Yeah.
at you as an example. He's like,
So true.
Oh my gosh, that responsibility went
No,
so
no,
high.
just increase.
Yeah. So now he's like, he's been so on it since that time. He's been exercising every day. He's been doing the right things. And I'm just there saying, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, we're helping him push to another
That's
level.
all.
And that's not only going to help him, it's going to indirectly treat his sons. And then whatever knock-on effect, like the rat study, we're changing
Yeah,
that now.
yeah.
You know, the
Of
future
course, of
generation. And
course,
that's so much more powerful. That ripple effect we have is the
of
main
course.
thing. And that's so
Every
cool.
generation is learning, evolving, and that's happening. So you are like filming a bit. So tell me your
Oh, no,
favorite
no, no, no. You're
dialogue.
going to have to come
You
back to the
are
next
no,
episode.
no, 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 no. I'm not letting you go
Oh, you're
without
going to embarrass
one
me.
dialogue. Come on, you're talking to a television actor.
That's
Come on, and
worse,
that too from
right?
India. No, not at all. Trust me, I won't judge. Did you judge me when I spelled probably all the technical terms wrong? I hope not. So I'm not
No, I
going to
didn't.
judge you. I'll
No, of
give it to
course
you
not.
now.
Of
So I
course not.
won't do it either. Come on, give me one favorite dialogue of yours, like something that
Oh, I wish you told me this
secretly
morning.
look
I would
in
have
the
reminded
mirror.
myself.
I'm sure you're good at it. I've seen the gist of it.
Oh, do you know
You
what?
must be looking at the mirror and saying something fun. Come on, one dialogue for all the viewers who've been through all the technical bit for an hour. Come on.
माफ कीजिएगा सर वो जहाँ से मैं देख रहा हूँ आप हार गए हैं. That's it. Oh, that's what I'm giving you right now.
No, I'm not letting you go with one line. No, 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 no. No, no, take two. Take
I
two.
don't
Take
remember.
two. No, the
I'll tell you
director's
what,
not
I'll
happy.
give you, I'll give
No,
you,
no,
I'll
one
give
more,
you
one
one.
more.
I'll tell you something embarrassing. Little bit, not embarrassing. I don't think it's embarrassing,
Or
but
maybe a
something.
song. Like one line. Come on, Trishul.
A song.
Where's the filmy Indian in you?
Oh
Like you have an
gosh. Oh
accent, you're
gosh. A
from UK.
song.
My audience will judge me. I mean, I have to give the Indianness, like come
I've
on.
just given the Indianness. There we go. That
No,
was
I
it.
need one song. Come on, one line. Come on, one song. One song. Shah Rukh Khan or maybe Salman Khan.
I'll give it to you next episode.
Come on.
We have to always
Trishul.
leave something extra for the next time.
Okay, what's your favorite song? Tell me, what's one song that you hum? Maybe in Hindi. I don't think you do, but maybe you do.
No,
One
because
song.
I know my wife's watching this, and if I sing our wedding song, then she'll get all shy as well. So I better not.
Come on, one line. One line.
One line. What song? I don't sing though. I just did the dialogues.
Okay, so then dialogue. One dialogue.
But
I'm
I've
not letting
forgotten
you
the
go
rest.
with
I
one line.
used
One
to have,
line
you
was
know
just so small. I was like, you can't do it.
the
One line.
Mohabbat CD. They used to have a CD just of all the dialogues. So I used to play that in the car, just recite all the dialogues, and especially that one.
I knew
But
that. Come on, let's have it. Let's
that's
have
all I
one
remember.
dialogue.
Honestly, I'll do it next time.
That's it.
Honestly, I'll do it
Okay,
next
done.
time.
Next time, I'm going to let you practice, and
Perfect.
I'm going
I will
to
promise
not
you.
catch
Promise
you
you.
like that.
100%. 100%. I guarantee.
But Trishul,
That's
such
fine.
a treat understanding the not just the science behind chiropractic, also understanding this is very interesting. I never thought we'd be talking about the neurological bit in a way that how a psychological bit can help, how thinking healthy can actually lead to a healthier bone, if I may say so. I don't know if I can say that, but we always think that spinal cord or bone or anything, that's when we come to you. But what you said, actually, I'm going to think about it as well, because the pain that I have in my back, I've been living with it for 6 years. And I don't know if that's because of the emotional bit or what it is. Like, you've given
Well,
me
let me
so
give
much
you another
to think
story.
about.
I mean, there's so many stories I can give you. And one just came to mind as you were saying that as well, which is summarizing so beautifully. I had a patient come to me because they had knee pain. Their right knee was hurting. And their main pain point wasn't the knee pain. Actually, it was because every year they go on a ski trip. And because the ski boots were, when she was skiing, it was hurting her knee. So we went through a whole case history. I started treating her. I said, listen, the pain isn't coming directly from the knee. It's coming from this part of your spine. We're going to make sure we release the pressure off there. We're going to work on that. So we're going through the process. And then two things happened out during her process, right? Which she didn't tell me. First, she said, you know what? The knee's starting to feel easier, but suddenly my left ankle, so her right knee was hurting originally, but her left ankle suddenly started hurting. And I said, look, I know somewhere in your history, you hurt your left ankle. She goes, no, Trishul, I didn't. I never hurt my left ankle. I said, I'm sure it's somewhere. I said, why don't you go home, think about it, come back next time. She came back next time. She said, Trishul, you're right. I said, what happened? Because I remember ages ago, her son accidentally stepped on her left foot. She twisted, and for a few days, that left ankle was really, really painful. I said, so that's good. That's good news. She said, why is it good news? I said, because we are undoing all the stuff that's happened in your life. We're undoing.
So it's going backwards.
And then she said, do you know what was really weird? Is that I've been experiencing acidity and stomach acid and reflux for so many years. She's been taking all the tablets for that. Since she started with us, nothing. That's
Really?
the only
Wow.
change, Daljit. The only change in life was she started coming to see us. Her work was the same, her job was the same, all everything was the same.
Wow.
And she said, why is that? I said, well, because we're treating the nerves are then releasing the pressure on there, they're all functioning optimally again. So my point was not the antacids were needed, because that's not, no one has a deficiency in antacids, but that wasn't the ideal for the long term. And so there's so many different things that you can help with. It's just a case of going through that process and finding out from your professional what they can do for you.
But this is actually something that I'm going to think about after this session gets over, because you've given me a food for thought, and I never thought talking to you is going to lead to this. And actually good that you did not tell me over the phone, because I would have been prepared. So it's really interesting to know how, which we obviously understand that, our entire mind, our body, everything is correlated in a very basic layman thing. We all understand that. But to understand in a very, you've given examples of your patients, it makes so much more sense to me now. And I'm going to, I think, look at my own self in a different way. And the moment the lockdown gets over, I'm definitely going for a checkup to understand maybe there is something that I'm just avoiding, thinking that it's just because of the birth. Maybe there's
Oh, you
something
don't need
much
to
bigger
wait
that
for
has
the
probably
lockdown.
happened.
You can make an appointment with me now, Daljit. Right? We
Oh,
can do a
wow,
virtual
really?
session. Absolutely.
Oh,
Not this moment,
wow.
but yeah, we can do it
Yeah.
before the lockdown ends.
Vartika, you know what to do. Vartika, you're watching. Alpha to beta, alpha to
We'll look after
beta.
both of you, okay? You both deserve it, okay? You guys are working
Oh,
hard, so we'll do that.
wow. Yay. So, guys, now that I'm going to let Mr. Trishul go, and I'm like saying that with a very heavy heart, because there's just so
Oh,
much more I want to know, I want to understand, which I know is going to be too much like now. But I'm going to catch you again, Trishul. I'm not going to let you go so easily. You are going to come back. There's so much more in my head right now, and I'm going to come back to you. We'll take another day, another time, where we probably talk in, maybe in depth. We kind of covered a lot of things today, and probably, that's probably too much for the viewers right now. But probably we'll pin it down to something that might just instantly help, or some. And considering it's lockdown, and considering the anxiety and the depression and everything is leading one thing from the other, and of course, all of us probably need help for neck, for back, for everything. And like you said, it could probably not just be because we're sitting, it's probably because of the anxiety and the depression, is what I
and the
understand.
meaning we're
What
giving it. You know, the meaning
And the
we're
meaning
giving
we're
it.
giving it. We're
That's what
probably
we're doing.
telling to ourselves that, oh my God, what are we going through? We're
Exactly.
going through a lot. And that pressure indirectly is building all the pains that we're getting, is what you're saying. So that's really interesting, because I've never seen it like that. In my head, it was very simple. I'm holding a mobile
Yeah.
for like hours and hours and hours, and my neck is hurting. Or I'm sitting for so long, which I'm not used to sitting, because I'm usually, like I said initially, I'm
Yeah.
used to like going everywhere. Maybe that's why the back is hurting, and maybe that is not the reason at all. The reason
No,
is
what
that
if
I'm
it's
just,
the content is feeding you? What you're seeing on your mobile phone? What if that is causing the stress?
oh
What if
my
we think that we're
God.
looking at that? Or, for example, there's other studies they've done so many times. They've taken 3 groups of people, right? The
Yeah.
first group, they told them to do nothing. The second group, they told them to do traditional weightlifting, 20 minutes, 3 times a week. The third group, they told them to sit for 20 minutes, 3 times a week. Do not move any part of the body, but vividly imagine they are lifting every single rep of every single weight of their exercise program. When they looked at their study results at the end of the study, the first group, 0 muscle mass gain. Fine, we expect that. They didn't do anything. The second group, who did traditional weightlifting, they got an increase in muscle mass. The third group had an increase in muscle mass, which didn't lift any weight, but vividly imagine that. That is how powerful your nervous system is. And that's without any physical change. We know this from black and white scientific studies. So people say there's no chiropractic studies or this and that, but that's where the science is behind all of this stuff. And it's just sitting there. And so all of us are pooling all the data together, going, well, this is where the evidence lies. And it's so much more powerful. So, once we understand that, there's so much you can do.
And it's genuinely making so much sense to me now that I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking of my own experiences. I'm not thinking of it in a medical way at all. I'm thinking of it in a very, in a very real way. And it's making a lot of sense, because you're right. And we don't realize, because it's easy to blame a cesarean, or it's easy to blame a birth, or whatever, whatever we heard, it kind of makes sense, because my mom said, yeah, even I had it when I gave birth. Don't worry about it. So I've never really thought about it. I'm dealing with that pain, and it's a physical, excruciating pain. Like if I stand for a long time, there's one one little dot, it is all like I have to actually cut the shot and say, you know what, I need to sit down because I can't stand. I feel that I'm going to faint or something like that because it suddenly starts, and I'm saying my dialogues. I'm in the best of my mood. Not that I'm depressed at that particular time, or I'm thinking nothing. I'm like having fun, doing my thing, saying my dialogues. You know, I love my job. And suddenly, if I stand for a little longer, it starts paining. And then I'm like, damn, I can't perform the way I want to. And it just makes so much sense, you know.
You know what? I tell you what, and you're already a brilliant actress, but imagine this. Imagine who you're actually meant to be. You're meant to be the actress who can go and deliver her dialogues, go deliver the scene, and imagine how much better you'd feel that, you know what, I really gave my best, right?
Yeah.
And then what, I don't know, what doors does that open up to? People go, wow, this girl, she doesn't stop, right?
Yeah.
And then who knows, like people who are on a tight budget, on a filming budget, they go, right, you know, we've got this many days.
Because it's happened multiple times when like we have scenes where, you know, you're outside a particular place and we have like lots of drama going on and we have to kind of say a lot and we're like one of the main actors. Yeah, and after some time I'm like, you know what, finish someone else. I need like a moment to sit.
Yeah.
It gets better also soon. But once it starts, then my entire evening is ruined and I can't like get back to being what I was when I came. So this actually is like,
oh my gosh, you need to come and see me now.
Oh my God, I'm coming to you.
Honestly, this is the best time. Why don't we use this as preparation time for when you're back out of lockdown, when you're back on the scene filming?
If this happens, I have to tell you this. I am so coming live with you again. And I'm going to share my testimony.
I would love that. I think it's going to be so powerful to your audience.
I will so do that because I think I've heard so many women out there who've given birth saying, oh, this is very common. Don't worry, this pain, oh, very common. And I know so many women who live with this pain, giving it to the birth, which you said has healed long time back. So there's much more which probably hasn't and which needs to be catered. So, oh my God, like I usually do a session for an hour on live. I can't believe Varto is like reminding me, it's beyond an hour. You sure you want to do this? I'm like, I can't get over this fact that you've given me food for thought. And I'm definitely getting back to you, Trishul, personally. And guys, I am going to have a session with him professionally, and I'm going to share my testimony. And you guys know me, I can't fake it at all. Like I will tell you exactly how I feel. And because if it ends up doing this to me, you can't believe, Trishul, how many women right now, and after I save this IGTV session, would go bonkers because they probably live with it the way I have. You know, I was thinking that I could probably, you know, resort to a chiropractor after talking to you. Like in my head, I was thinking, you know, I'm going to mention that pain that you might say, you know, go to a chiropractor, get yourself pressed or whatever, get yourself treated and you'll be fine. I was hoping for that answer. But this, oh my God, oh my Lord, like I didn't even think it would come to this. So I am coming to you. I'm talking to you.
It'd be my pleasure. I'd love to.
I'm looking forward to this. Now, out of curiosity, I'm a curious child, can't help it. And secondly, to understand if this science, which has nothing to do with chiropractic or bones, and it has completely to do with the neurological system, oh my God, this will be like a revolutionary thing for me more than anyone else.
It's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be, and I think I'm so grateful that you're willing to step up and take that action, not just for yourself, as you say, but as an example to see what is possible, and let's share that with people because they need to know.
Because this is not even a match to what I thought, what you're saying, and what I'm thinking could be possible, which almost is impossible in my head right now. So if this comes, like if it kind of aligns together and actually ends up having a solution, and tomorrow, like you said, I'm giving my scenes without worrying about standing for too long because, you know, I don't want to splash the whole, like I've been thinking I've put the whole cesarean into the back books, you know, and I say, you know what, I need rest. So it'll be so great if the other women also know that this has nothing to do with it. So I'm coming back to you, like you can see. For sure, Vartika, you need to do what you need to do. And
guess what? If enough of your audience DM me, I'll help them out too. If they want to DM me, I'll do something special for them. Just for your audience. That. Right.
Trishul Wadi, he will be tagged. He will be, you know, after this particular live, I'm going to save on IGTV. So you will be able to go back if you guys have missed anything. You've just joined me now. You are going to see some amazing things that we've spoken about, and it might actually end up helping you. So please go back. And if you, like he said, he's going to do something special if it comes to my fans. So if you have questions, if you have something, bothering you, please ask him. He's more than happy to help, which is so
100%.
sweet of you to say, Trishul. It really
That's
means a
what I'm
lot.
here for. That's what we're both. I think we're both
Yes,
here. As I said to you earlier on our phone call this morning, we have a common purpose. You know, although we're in
yes,
different fields, we definitely have this common purpose to serve, to help, to make sure that people get the
yes.
best out of their lives, to
Yeah.
love, health, and laughter. That's the main thing,
Because
right?
every time, people say, oh, you have so many followers. Wow, you're touching 1 million. It makes no sense because what am I doing? It's just
Yeah.
increasing numbers or decreasing numbers if I can't reach out to the people and if it can help. And honestly, now at the parting note, I'm actually feeling that if this could help all the women out there who probably lived with certain pain, not knowing that they probably did not require medication or they did not require a physiotherapy that has probably lasted them or costed them so much, and it was basic neurological self which could have been healed long time back and you could have probably carried on with your life, like you said, you mentioned about your friend. So if that can happen, oh my god, this will be like outstanding. So wow, I'm so excited. So
But make
thank
sure
you so very
whenever
much.
you win that IFA award, you thank me in your speech, okay? Don't forget me.
I'm doing that. The thank you speech is going to start with Trishul, or like how all the actors say, last but not the least. Maybe that's where I'm going to like, with an impact. It'll be
Well,
Trishul
I will
Gadi.
make sure you won't forget because I'll be standing there with the banner, so you don't forget.
Oh my God, I have a fan for sure. I don't know
Oh.
about the 900 plus K, but this fan counts, dude. And if this can happen, this will be like just waking up to like a mysterious world where this was not a problem at all. And this will be like amazing. And wow, I'm really, really excited to connect with you. So I am doing this and okay, so I'm going to get back to you, Trishul, very, very soon on a personal thing. And then I'm going to do a testimony.
Let's
And
do
I
it.
am going to get you back on my life, which I
It'll be
haven't
my
promised
pleasure. I'd
anyone, but
love
I'm
to.
promising you
I'll tell you
for
what,
sure.
I'll do another one. I'll do something else. Not only will I come back on your live, but when this lockdown comes off and I'm over in India, we'll meet in person and we'll do a whole session in person too.
Oh,
Sound cool?
wow. Cool. Well,
Let's do that.
seriously,
Let's
you're
do that.
asking. You're asking. That's
We'll
really
do that.
humble of you.
We'll do
Oh
something
my
cool.
God.
Yeah, we'll figure
Of
something out for
course,
you.
of course, of course. And if I'm traveling to UK, which doesn't seem likely as of now, but whenever, I'm so tracing you down and
Yeah, we're
meeting
in
you. But
London,
I'm
so yeah,
excited about the virtual thing right now because
sounds good.
that if that can help, probably this is the time because we all have the time. The thing that we
Well,
don't have
yeah,
in usual
exactly.
days,
I was just
This
going to
is
say that this is the
yeah,
time when we should be making health a priority. This is the biggest example globally that health is a priority. And
so true.
especially when you go back, we'll go back to some sort of normality. We're going to go back, you're definitely going to go back into filming. You can't be wearing a mask and all that when you're filming, right?
You can't
So
do
those things
that.
have to
So
be
true.
back to how they were before.
So
There's going to
true.
be an at some point.
Okay,
So,
Vartika is giving a red alarm saying we need to save this. Have you spoken up? Like she's saying, we need to save this, we need to save this. So okay, so in case it doesn't get saved because we've like chatted for a long time, so I'm
yeah,
gonna let you go to shoot because I
fine.
need to save this because this is very important to go on my
Absolutely.
IGTV. This needs to help those people. And I'm coming back with you on a personal virtual self. And then I'm gonna get back with you on live
Fine.
and try and see what we can do. Thank you
Let's do it.
so much for
You're
joining
welcome. You're
me.
welcome. All right. Thanks again
I'm
to you and your
so
team. I
happy to
really
see you.
appreciated it. I had so much fun. It has been awesome. So thank you so
Same
much for having
here.
me.
Thank you. Thank you, Trishul.
All right.
Have a
All the
great
best.
day. Bye
See you
bye.
soon.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you. Bye. Wow, this is exciting. Okay, I'm not going to take too much time because I need to save this. Go on my IGTV, guys, and see this. And tata, bye bye. Good night. See you.